What's happening, ladies and gents? So, what is this? Gameplay? Yeah, I haven't done any gameplay videos in forever. In fact, I don't recall the last time I did any sort of quote-unquote let's play or anything. But, I do want to get into that because I have issues with my internet, so streaming's kind of out of the question right now. At least for a while. Also, preventing me from doing a lot of work, which sucks, but I can play games and record them and slowly but surely upload them. So, what are we playing? I, being Distracted Games, have a pretty broad range of likes and dislikes, but interests in game types. I always like to find interesting games that I think are interesting on the system side as well, being a game developer and programmer myself. This game today is called Elin. It's Eternal League of Nephia. So obviously it's an acronym there. This is actually a game. It's the second game in a series, I guess you could say, of games. It's a prequel to a game called Ilona. That was developed by, I think, a single developer named Noah. It's a Japanese roguelike JRPG, which is also what this is. This one, I know for sure, is developed by both Noah and a second developer. His name is Rusty. They had a Kickstarter on here that just ended. This just came out at the beginning of November 2024 here. And in fact, you can find it on Steam. Pull that up for $19.99. It's early access right now, and yeah, it's a very, very interesting game for sure. So just to break down quickly, it's got a lot of randomization for names, events, and all sorts of stuff. It is a roguelike, so if you're familiar with that, that's exactly what you're getting into here. This one in particular has an emphasis on a lot of crafting resources, and as well as you can develop your own towns and have a whole lot going on there and building your towns up. It's really cool. I've already gone in with a couple different characters to try out a couple different play styles, as well as to just kind of get an overall feel for the game. And I gotta say, it's quite addictive, and I really do like it. And I still like those characters, but for the sake of this Let's Play, we're gonna go ahead and create a new adventure. Just to show, I am doing, I'm on 4K, even though this is uploading at 1080p, just because that's what my monitor is, but I also have my UI scaled to 150. I might increase that for the sake of the video. Boy, it just gets so massive on my screen, but at the same time, I know it's going to be a lot easier for everybody to see, so we'll do that instead. We'll go 200%. I may have to mess around with the location of the UI and stuff. I haven't really changed much else. So let's go ahead and create an adventurer. I am still going into this, aside from, having looked at a lot of things early in the game, I've definitely not gotten deep into it at all, and I've looked up nothing, which could be a hindrance to me because the game really explains very little. I mean, it's a roguelike. It's for you to discover, right? But this is kind of a first look almost, if you want to look at it that way. So we can randomize a name here. First things first, we want to play, I think this is, yeah, just like non-gender, I guess, or who knows, ambiguous, I suppose. We'll do a male. We can do a random age. You can do a child, a youth, which a child, so they have 10 years old. You can randomize all this as well. Like if I go to youth, that's 19, go back to child, you can see this is 15 now, which is interesting because I've seen 15 come up as a youth as well. So it's very interesting. Old is 32 apparently. Ouch. 27's a grown-up. Okay, yeah. They're just kicking me down here. Because of some of the randomness, this is going to be a more adult video, just because there are going to be some things. I got lucky that nothing too adult came up over here by default. But let's go ahead and do a youth. 17 years old, sounds good. We'll just be, you know, fresh-faced. Actually, no, let's do a grown-up. 28, perfect. Okay, so we were born May 21st, apparently. So we can obviously go through. There's a lot of different sprites that you can choose for the pictures, including like a robot, an orc, a cat, and a dog. I haven't seen that one yet. I think they've added some new ones since this updated. But a chicken, I think is hilarious, and for some reason it's titled special_m-father. Because it's a rooster, and if you go a female on the chicken, it's a hen. It's actually kind of funny. Unfortunately, I don't think you can actually... Yeah, you only have the 2 body styles, either male or female, so it doesn't actually give you the option to be a chicken, as far as your actual sprite goes, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and remove this so I can just go to... There we go. I don't want to go all the way because then I go naked. Not that you can really see much, but... so hair, we could do a bald guy. That's what I am. But let's do something... We could do like a Sephiroth sort of look. Just think... Try the longer hair here. Try not to spend too much time on that. There we go. That's pretty good. Actually, that's... I think Sephiroth has those bangs too. That kind of works. And you can, of course, change colors on all of these as well. So Sephiroth's is pretty much gray-white, something like that. I don't know why I'm randomly making Sephiroth on here, but why not? And then you got different eyes. Yeah, we'll go with that. You can have different facial attachments, which you can do. You can match your sprite. I'm not going to do the chicken. You can match... Oh, I can change that here. I didn't realize that. You can match a lot of things. Like they have the cat people down here somewhere. Yeah. So like you can put the ears on them. Let's do this edgelord, why not? So, no facial attachment there. You know what? No, okay, I'm starting to see something here that I think I'm gonna like. Let's do, I think I saw there's an eye patch guy, so there's that eye patch guy. That's kind of alright. Is there another eye patch guy on here? There's an eye patch guy. Yeah, he looks 28 years old, why not? Unfortunately, there's no beard option. I wish they did do a beard option, but that's alright. I think that other eye patch guy is going to be the little better look for it there. What was he? There it is. Alright, and then, and in that case, let me go ahead and we'll shorten the hair down as well. We'll go down here. Now I kind of want to play an old guy too. Yeah, we'll do something like that, and then we'll just do the sub hair. You know what? Just get rid of the sub hair. That's fine. And I'm gonna actually change this to like, you don't have to match your avatar's icon or anything, of course. We'll go with like a blacker hair. No eyes. And an eye patch. Alright, well, that's fine. I kind of like that. Alright, so now let's give him some pants of some sort. What kind of character I'm gonna actually roll with, I'm not entirely sure yet. Is this a skirt? Okay, it is. Alright, yeah, we'll just do pants. They're already black. That's interesting. Oh, wait. Okay, they were not black. Give him some blue jeans. We could do that. This game is very interesting because it has like guns. It has swords and sorcery. All sorts of crazy stuff in here. There's technology. There's microchips and electricity and stuff. I've only seen that in certain descriptions of things. Obviously haven't played long enough to actually come across any of that yet, but for a top, let's do... kind of like the business shirt, actually. Alright, we'll do the button up. Let's make it like a... let's do like a dark blue. Yeah. Yeah, that looks fun. Okay, and I think, yeah, you can zoom in and out and stuff. Speed up or speed down the animation and what they're doing. Alright, I think that's fine. It's fine. Alright, so we have, we can choose a different race and different class, and that is going to determine our starting attributes, our starting skills, and of course our feats. So you have your different racial feats depending on your race as well. So the Jur, nomads of South Tyrus. Without a homeland, the Jur often drift into banditry, making them notorious in Tyrus. Tyrus? We'll call it Tyrus. They cherish freedom, loathe constraints, and prioritize personal autonomy. So gifted with dexterous hands, I don't know why I couldn't say that, sharp senses, and a high learning ability, they are masters of all trades. They can earn their living through performances and can survive on minimal sustenance. So this is kind of your everyman sort of build, which there is a different one that you can get that I noticed. That's probably a little more everyman. So they have this here, extra races and classes. Turn this on to unlock extra races and classes for seasoned adventurers with an array of unique choices. It's recommended that you first become comfortable with the adventure using the starting races and classes. Although there are some good ones in there. So we'll take a look at those here in just a second as well. So strength is obviously, just what strength is. Endurance is going to be your toughness and fortitude. Dexterity is what you would use dexterity for in most RPGs, right? Perception is going to be useful for finding traps and things like that. Also, like, and you'll see in the skills here, these each have icons relating to the attributes. So their effectiveness is based on the attribute that they're based on. So for example, stealth is perception based, right? So the better your perception is, the better base you have for your stealth, essentially. Learning is interesting. It's a lot of it is skill based, but I think it also has to do with basically every time you sleep in the game, you have a chance to learn new recipes. And I think just learning recipes in general, either crafting recipes or spells or anything like that, learning can help with that. Will, so spirit and faith and all that kind of stuff is in the game. I have yet to actually come across any usage for it, although I haven't played any of like the faith-based classes yet, per se. So I'm not really sure what that really comes down to. But you can see things like travel and riding, skills that rely on will. So there's that. Magic is exactly what you would think. Charisma is useful because you can talk to NPCs, get them to like you enough that you can either have them become a party member, so you can build up a party of adventurers and actually go around and fight things and dungeon delve and whatnot with a party of people, which is cool. But you can also invite people to live in your town and work in your town. Or even just be tourists in your town, all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of different options you can do with the town itself. We'll delve into some of those. And then again, the skills, a lot of that's going to come from the class, and I think you get some from your race as well. Feats as well. So the feats are your real special abilities. So other than racial feats, like efficient feeder, this gives you increased food effects. So in your nomadic life and travels, you become capable of taking enough nutrients from small amounts of food. So you actually have to eat less food to become full. So there is a light survival mechanic with eating and having to eat. It's not an annoyance or anything, so it is kind of nice that they have it in there without being too much of a hindrance. In fact, it makes cooking much more useful as well. I'm a big fan of cooking in real life, and I might actually pursue some cooking stuff with this character, so we'll see. And then ranged mastery, so this increases the effectiveness of ranged weapons just by having that. So you'll also notice these little flames next to them here. So these are your potential. So your character's potential with a smaller flame like this is just above average, I would say, meaning that you have potential, I believe, to learn it quicker or to get better at it faster. If you have a larger flame, you can see, in fact, if I do this, you can see here potential of 95. I think the base is 100 on that, yeah. This is an even smaller flame there. If it's a red flame, it's a negative. So you actually have, in this case, a base of 80 and a -5 potential here for the 75 total. The larger ones are your skills and attributes and things that you're going to want to focus on, or that your character is just better at, right? So they can get up pretty high. This says 140, here's a base of 150, 140. So that can help kind of dictate what sort of things you might want to focus on. So let's go ahead and go through some of the races. These are some of the base races here. So the Urals, which they spell differently here than they do here, so I'm not really sure about that. But you can see these are the base things that you get from this. So these guys are a little better on learning. They're not strength-based or magic-based. They do have fast learner. And unfortunately you can't like hover over these to know what they do, so you have to click this and then go in and you can see, okay, learns feats faster, so you can gain more of these. Feats are quite powerful. They definitely, you know, this fast learner is definitely really nice to have. You also get a platinum coin discount when training. That's actually really cool. So you can go to an NPC trainer. One of the currencies is a platinum coin that you can earn from doing different things. And you can pay them to train skills, attributes, or feats, I think. Maybe not attributes. Might even just be feats. I don't recall. But so that's what that does. So these guys are, and if you get to the ends of their, you know, after the little bit of lore here, gifted with a heightened learning capacity, adept in handling mechanized armaments, so that would be like guns and things, which they have marksmen, you can see. They acquire feats faster in the other races. That's what the fast learner was. So they also come with investing and negotiation skills, which are useful. Investing for, you can invest in shops and it can build up your influence, and which is another currency. There's a lot of depth in this game for sure. Negotiation, I assume, is going to help with convincing people to either join you or join your town and things like that, as well as maybe negotiating lower prices for buying and higher prices for selling. I don't know. In one of my one of my starts, I ended up learning an appraisal skill. Had no idea how to use it though, so we'll just see. So that's these guys. There's the Yulderna. So these guys, as you can see, are the magic users here. Magic device, casting, literacy. They're bonded with mana, magic precision. So again, you come down after the lore and you can see they are cruel perfectionists. Or here we are. Yuldernians. It's weird. Are skilled in magic and magical tools, making them apt for caster and intermediate professions. We also have fairies, and fairies are actually smaller creatures, which is quite interesting. You can see they take a penalty to strength and endurance. They are rather well-rounded with the other attributes, a little lean heavier into magic and charisma. You can see big on casting, big on stealth and pickpocketing, so they make good thieves as well. They have that little 1 feet and elemental dust, and you can see here they hold high resistance to nearly all elements. They have, or actually this whole thing is pretty much not lore, just all about the stuff you get. So they boast higher magical prowess, evasion, unmatched speed. However, their physical fragility limits them from wearing gear heavier than 1S. I don't know what the S stands for, but it's their weight category, their weight measurement. Making bolstering defenses a challenge, a single substantial physical attack could place them in peril. So that's where, obviously having a party, having a tank basically in your party and casting from afar could be really good for a fairy build. Hill folk are basically like your dwarves. Short, rugged, drink a lot, possess advanced mining and crafting skills. They're equipped to thrive in the darkest, most toxic of environments. They have profound love for alcohol and can summon strength beyond their usual capabilities when they drink. But you can see they take a penalty of perception, learning, magic, and charisma for all that. But they can carry more weight with weightlifting. They're good at mining, wearing heavy armor. So yeah, pretty interesting. I don't know what Underground Dweller does. Let's see what that does. Poison resistance and darkness resistance both at a +2, so that's pretty cool. Alright, then we have the Jira, which we read about already. We have the Elia. I think these are the cat people. Or the people, the humanoids with cat ears, I should say. They have resistance to Ether, which is, I think, they say there's forests in the world that do that, and humans, it messes with humans, drives them insane or something like that. Vast magical powers with the capability to mitigate damage from magical backlash, so another magic-focused race here. You have Chaos Shape. This one is really interesting. Like, really interesting. So, little is known about the Chaos Shape, also referred to as the Deformed Ones. They barely retain a human form. Chaos Shapes acquire new body parts as they grow, but what emerges is unpredictable. You can grow limbs. I think you actually start with less limbs, as a matter of fact. We look here, yeah, fewer body parts. When you awoke one morning from uneasy dreams, you found yourself in your bed transformed into a chaos being. You start with fewer body parts, right? Like you might only have one arm, right? One hand. But your body parts grow, so you can have more than 2 hands, more than 2 legs. I don't know what that, if that, actually ends up looking like anything on the character, but I'm very interested in trying this out sometime. I might try it this time. I might just see what this actually does. I will say I'm not a huge fan of taking penalties on just about everything. So there is that. There also reduction in charisma, which is, it can be a little painful. This would definitely be a more difficult build to start with. I don't know how fast you grow limbs, but obviously growing more limbs, if we get 3 hands and we can wield 3 different weapons, that could be pretty cool. Then we have a snail. Yes, it is a snail. And you can see this is like your lowest end build. This is like your more difficult build. They're sluggish, they're fragile, weak, and clumsy, devoid of learning aptitude, and they can be dissolved by salt. Yeah, it's bad. This would be your challenge race, right? Then you could be a lich as well. Obviously, another magic-focused character. They have a lot of really cool things. Being undead, they have a lot of resistances, little light eater stuff. Also a reduction in charisma, which can be a bit of a pain, but otherwise there's that. So we can also, let's go ahead and click this extra races and classes on, and we'll take a look here now. We can see we have a wraith, also undead, possess greater mana and meditation skills than other races, so even better of a caster in a lot of cases. They lack the physical stamina for direct combat, while wraiths have resistance to several elements that are vulnerable to fire, which is kind of an undead thing. Anyways, the lich shares that as well. A golem, which is pretty cool here. Materials imbued with life through magical means. So they boast vastly superior physical strength, however, perhaps as a trade-off, their mana and speed are notably inferior. Golems have a strong resistance to poison, are immune to bleeding, and possess the advantage of not succumbing to a state of being dazed. So there's something to be said about having essentially a strength build golem, right? You're obviously going to take a lot of penalties and other things. I don't know how good or bad that could be. A Mifu is a hybrid race of fox human. They have the Nefu as well, which is if you're a female, you can be the Nefu. Well, I guess you could be either, but lore-wise, the Mifu are the males and Nefu are the females. So cheerful and mischievous, they aren't particularly resilient. They make up for their outstanding knowledge of blessings and curses. The Nefu, on the other hand, striking beauty combined with their distinct spell sword combat style become a topic of fascination among adventurers. So this is really cool. So the good charisma and good dexterity, so you can, whip like daggers or short swords and dual wield maybe. There's a lot of things you can do with that. Succubus, or succubi, so tempting humans with their allure, so again, a lot of charisma there. Let's see, possess both high charisma and magic, growing stronger by indulging in sensations of pleasure. There's a big magic emphasis on a lot of these races, which I find interesting. I don't know how balanced they really make that. I will say magic is quite powerful. I had a lich start with one of my characters just as my magic class just to see, and man, yeah, she tore through things pretty easily. So magic is quite powerful, although I also went with actually it was a demigod, the last one here, who's like the real everyman, right? But also they have a lot of charisma, and they tend to be more on the physical. Well, actually, they could go either way. So this really is your everyman build here, where you could do either physical or magic-based combat. Coffee break. All right, so what do we want to do? That's what we need to think of. I'm still really interested in trying the chaos shape. I just want to know like what happens. So we're gonna do that. Despite the downsides of it, I'm really curious in the upsides. So now we still have the extra races turned on, so I'm gonna turn that off real quick and just look. These are the base classes that they have. So they have a warrior, a thief, wizard, a farmer, right? So a non-combat oriented, but you can see because they have the strength and endurance, and even dexterity to an extent, they are still able to defend themselves pretty well. Archer, war mage, which is your warrior wizard, of course. Tourist. This is, again, if you were to do like a snail tourist, this would be your absolute challenge build, which I think could be kind of funny. But these guys, they're just about kind of their skills, essentially. Pianist, so it says pianist, but specifically it's your musician build, because you can, as a musician, I think you can play just about any instrument or even sing or anything like that. And it's all pulling from the same music skill and whatnot. But they do mention that you have the weightlifting and everything because you've been carrying your piano around, right? So that's where they kind of get that. And then they have the priest, and this is one of the faith builds and what they have with the will and faith. So that could be interesting to go that route, because again, I haven't done that yet. So now we'll go and turn on the extra classes, and you can see we have a gunner. I have found guns really early just laying around in like the first dungeon you go into, so it is entirely possible to find those. However, to get bullets from them or for them, I think would take a while to unlock the ability to do so. So that could be something where you just kind of start with a bow and then work your way into actual guns. Inquisitor is also a faith build, but this is your more combat focused faith build. Paladin, also similar thing. Obviously these guys are much more on the strength side of things though. Executioner, also strength build. See, so now the classes you start to see a lot more, or maybe a drawback from or not drawback, but a pullback from a lot of the magic, and a little more options for if you want to just beat face with heavy weapons and whatnot, especially. Sword Sage is kind of cool. Spiritual practitioners who traverse between the spirit world and the mortal realm, wielding the power to repel malevolent spirits. Skilled in the arts of curses and divination, they master the technique of enhancing weapons with talismans infused with spells. This could be a really cool option. I haven't done this. I was really interested in the Witch for when I said I did the Lich build. I wanted to be a Lich Witch. However, unfortunately, the Way of Witch actual feat is not implemented right now, so it would be kind of a hollow version of it, because that was supposed to can brew more potions and skilled at broom riding. They don't have broom riding in yet, as far as I'm aware. So, and it could just be that that's the one thing they don't have set up yet. But as updates come, we'll see. So I think I'm going to be a Sword Sage. Tactics is your... I think you deal more damage with physical weapons. Yeah, increases melee damage. And then literacy, meditation, casting, and magic device. So you can use magic devices, which is cool. Despite, no boost to charisma, learning, perception, or dexterity. I think that's kind of cool though. And then we have talisman mastery. So increased talisman effects and charges. Which could be kind of cool. So essentially we'd be enchanting weapons for the most part here. So from our chaos shape, we would have regeneration, which is really useful. I ended up training in that skill with my combat build last time. Tactics went over. Literacy allows you to read difficult books, which could be useful for researching and deciphering tomes and whatnot. Meditation, everybody can meditate. That's how you kind of stop and wait and rebuild your hit points. But this helps build your magic points back up as well. We have casting, so when you cast a spell, you have a chance of casting failure. This reduces that, of course. Magic devices just improves your efficiency with that. I think this is what we're going to go with. So now we have domains of fire, cold, lightning, nether, and holy. What this means is that when we fall asleep, like I said, we have a chance of learning new recipes. We also have a chance of learning new spells. And ideally, the spells that we learn would be randomly selected from one of these domains here, which is kind of cool. So the difficulty, this is interesting. Now, you can do none, which allows you to just save scum if you want to, right? You can save anytime and all that. Oath of Destiny is the default. Manual save and load will be disabled in your journey, so this is just auto save. You die, or you make a bad choice, it's going to auto save frequently, and you're not going to be able to go back to that. And then there's Oath of Eternity. This is your permadeath difficulty here. You're granted the Fate feat at the start of your journey. Manual save and load are disabled, and then if you die, everything will be lost. So it wipes your game save, I think. So that's true roguelike right there. We're just going to do the Oath of Destiny for this this build here. There are a couple different options for the prologue, basically the start of the story here. So Night in the Meadow is your default. They're testing these other two right now, A Night in the Meadow in winter, which I assume is going to make it... I haven't reached, obviously, winter. I didn't even know seasons existed unless you looked at this. But I haven't reached any winter or anything in here. But I assume it means, you're going to have a harder time finding foods and foraging for fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. Or you can start in a cave, which could be interesting. I don't know where that cave would be, and I don't know if the cave just spawns monsters. I don't even know if you can claim the cave as your village. So that could be an interesting one to start with. We'll just do the basic one for now. We'll start with A Night in the Meadow. And that is a lot of talking. I've just talked for like 30 minutes straight about just the character creation section here. So we're going to go ahead and create. We'll say yes. Everything's good there. And the game will start. You can hold control to skip if you want. A long time ago, now forgotten, the remnants of many civilizations are buried in the earth, and the 11th era of Ilva began, with the scars of the Rem-Edo still unmended. You have to learn what all that is through the lore in the game, of course. The fires of war started by the ancient desert empire soon spread over the world, and brought a long period of confusion to Ilva, which I believe is the planet itself. After losing the Siren airship on the western continent, the Empire gradually withdrew from various regions. Humans celebrated the first victory and peace they had won, and people once again returned to their serene lives. However, they never forgot the betrayal of Elias, or Elias, we'll call him Elias, who remained quiet during the war. It's one of the countries. I think you can actually see him in the background map when it goes up here, but so you can, again, learn a lot about the lore when you get into the game and kind of find out what all this is. I think early on I found out what the airship stuff was, but eventually, 15 years passed. Also, you'll notice some of the grammar's a little broken. That's because this is translated to English. I think by default it's Japanese translation. And as anyone knows, watching dubbed anime, translations aren't always the best. Even watching subbed anime, in some cases it's not the best. Alright, you are awake. No, lie down still. You were out cold for a while. It is fortunate that we found you before too late. Never wise for human to step into the forest of Elia, especially in the midst of night like this, when the wind is strong and the trees are astir. Now, we had brought you here, and it seems we are losing the night of our urgent journey. Not that I'm complaining. Well, not much. At least my companion is content with this unexpected break. Are you a traveler? What brings you to Mycelia? I believe that's the country we're in here. Am I prying too much, eh? Sleep well for now, for there is always calm when you truly need it. So we start out with a couple people to kind of help essentially with the tutorial portion of the game, and get you kind of on your feet and going. So this is where our story begins. Ash was as sarcastic as ever, but he seemed more pleased than I was with the little break you unintentionally gave us. The fate that lay ahead of Mycelia, the truth of the world and the choice we have made, and the scars it has brought to Ilva. Unaware of what was yet to come, we gazed at flames of the bonfire. The broken English really hurts my brain sometimes. Waiting patiently for the dawn to break. For the most part, it's fine. You could even kind of take it as just the way people talk. So our mysterious guest finally wakes up. There's porridge right by the bonfire, already getting cold though. Come to me when you're filled. We need to talk. It is not porridge, in fact. It is a vegetable soup. Alright, so this is our little helper fairy here. She's literally the help button is this. She's also tutorialized, of course. Good morning, sleepyhead. Don't worry, you're not hallucinating. I'm Neroon, your guide here to assist you on your journey. Well, you seem like you've just woken up, so for today, I'll just give you this adventure log. A handy tool that lets you replay our conversations anytime you want. Well, until we meet again then. Alright, so, again, I'm going to probably move some things around here. So also on the mouse, they give you, just open and close these to get the icons gone. On the mouse, they give you some shortcuts as well. So the forward button and back button on most mice, obviously, if you're using an actual mouse, not a touchpad or anything. The forward button, if you press it, will open your inventory. If you long press it, will open your abilities, which again, you can long press and press to turn these on and off, which is kind of nice. Typically, I like just having these open all the time, as well as my little coin purse. Oh my god, I just realized. So normally, over here on the right, you have like a full equipment slot list with feet and like a waist area to put a belt on, a back area to put like a cloak, 2 hands obviously. When they said fewer body parts, I wonder if this is also randomized at start. I would assume that it probably is. But as a mutant, we have 1 hand and a torso. Again, I wish this would actually like display what that looks like on the character. That's hilarious. We're just, I mean, obviously we don't even have a head to put a hat on, or a helmet or anything. Oh. Also, I think we have our light source, but yeah, there's our hand doesn't even have like fingers to put rings on, because that's another thing that normally shows up here, and we don't have a neck to put a necklace on. Oh, this is gonna be an interesting game for sure. Okay, so to kind of go around and look at some other things. So we have our clock up here, time passes. It is turn-based, so standing here doing nothing, time is not going to do anything. If I take a step, a turn has passed, and after enough turns, time actually moves forward. Obviously, you can wait by clicking on your character or whatever. So you can use left, right mouse buttons and middle mouse button to give you your context menus for things as well. Obviously, hovering over everything gives you what it is up here at the top of the screen and the different actions you can take. But they kind of go over that here in just a second. You can also move around with your keyboard, WASD, or I think you can enable for the numpad to move around, which makes moving in the diagonals a little easier. Obviously, because you can get 7, 9, 1, and 3 for those diagonals. There's a lot of controls help that you can come in here and obviously get basic controls, and then there's different things for like utility that are really cool. Like you can search items in the area using Control F. If you click on them, it'll actually walk your character to them. If they're in your inventory, it'll highlight them in your inventory. So that can be really useful if you've got a lot going on the map. And it's for this specific map tile, which is one tile of many in the overall world map that we'll get to here in some point. Recipe searches, so even without knowing these recipes right off the bat, we can still search them up. Right, if I want to search for different chests or something, or maybe not chest. Let's say we want to look at a ring, right? So, or string, apparently. Like you can search that. It might fill this out a little bit more as we learn them as well. You can leave yourself notes and pin them up there. We have the quest tracker itself. And then if you have a bed in your inventory, so if you're out and about, you can use the bed to sleep in. You do have to sleep. Down here at the bottom, we've got our health, our mana, and our stamina, basically. So different actions you take. You can walk around a lot and not decrease this, but different actions you take, they'll have difficulty levels, whether easy, normal, hard, difficult, that kind of stuff. And they'll have usage of your stamina. Crafting will tell you like how much stamina it takes, and I think the higher your crafting skill in that crafting style will reduce the amount of stamina needed as well. Down here on the right, this is our experience, so this is to earn feats. Oh, I forgot to mention also, the back button on the mouse button is also, or on the mouse is also a shortcut as well, so just tapping it will give you your character window, and this we can view all the different things about our character. So like we can go into our notes here and see Wesden. I forgot to even do a name, just randomized for me, that's fine. Also known as Lunatic Affection. I didn't really want to open that because I was like, okay, everything actually looks, we'll say, kid friendly. A little more PG. Whereas if I had opened the randomized alias, it could have given us some things that YouTube probably wouldn't have been happy about. Was born at this time in some church in Ural. Parents of Nervous Smith and Strange Monster. Little is known about his subsequent background. As he grew into his role as a sword sage, he traveled with a merchant caravan headed to Mycelia. However, he got lost in an ancient forest and collapsed, only to be rescued by a mysterious pair of humans. And you can actually edit this if you want to, for whatever reason. His favorites are, and hobby and work are all randomized. So I like potions and pickled vegetables. I have a hobby of treasure hunting. I like that, yeah. And work as a gardener. Sure, we can roll with that. I don't know if these matter on your player character, to be honest. Typically, like, so work for NPCs is what they'll excel at, or what kind of work they'll do in your town, if you hire them for that. and their likes and favorites and things like that are typically used for giving them gifts and making sure to give them the right kind of gift that they would like. So our weapon style is long sword and shield, armor style is light armor. Okay, so that's good to note. We can also, real quick, I'm gonna set this up. So this is for auto combat, which for a roguelike is very useful to have, especially with certain enemies that are a little beefier and take a while to nail down. You don't necessarily want to click, 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 click all the time. At the start, early on, I am going to be using auto combat much less than normal, just because I want to ensure that my character survives and have more control over that. But we can go ahead and say he's going to be probably a fighter style. He's going to have some magic, which is fine, because we can do items in the abilities in the hotbar, which is down here. We can assign those things. So we have Rush, for example. I can close this real quick. I can go ahead and drag that into the hotbar if I want to, and I can use my mouse wheel to scroll between them, or I could hit 9. And so now if I wanted to, like, I could rush her right by right-clicking on her. You can also use F or Shift F to target things, and you'll see a little icon above the heads of the targets. These are friendlies, so they're blue in name, as you can see up at the top there. Neutral creatures are white, and then obviously enemy or aggro creatures are going to be red as far as their name up at the top there. Alright, back to here though. We can also use only favorite abilities, which I like as well. So this usability is not in the hotbar. So if we middle mouse click on an ability, we can favorite it up here, and then they'll only use those abilities in the ability menu here. So if you decide not to use any abilities in the hotbar and you only want to use abilities there, but we'll use items and abilities in the hotbar is fine. Don't change the target, don't chase the target, don't auto combat neutral NPCs. That is for sure. We want to make sure not to do that. We also have abort conditions, so abort when your HP drops to half from the start of auto combat. We also want to make sure when our ally is critically wounded to stop, so we can, it is turn-based, so we can actually stop and kind of think about, okay, can we heal them? How do we heal them? All that kind of stuff. If our ally dies, we want to stop, because that could be we're in deep shit. We want to get out of it. Anytime an enemy is dead, I want to stop and reevaluate, so I'm going to turn that on as well. And then if the target is lost for some reason, runs off the map or whatever, or runs out of my vision range or whatever. Ally strategy, I want to always stay by me in combat, otherwise they could wander off and find their own enemies and then die without me understanding what's going on because they're out of my vision range or something. Otherwise, I also want to turn that off so they don't eat food that I might not want them to eat, so I can manually control that. Okay. So as you travel from tile to tile on the main map, you still get hungry. Time passes much more quickly because you're traveling like miles at a time. So they would automatically eat as you're traveling if you've got the food in your inventory to do so. Alright, so just kind of going along here. So our profile, so insanity is a thing, karma is a thing, fame, and then the number of territories that you have. We have very generic stats here for our life, mana, vigor, and speed, which is nice. So just hundreds across the board there. I just realized we have potential, positive potential on all of our attributes. That's nice. Obviously, will and magic are our tops. It's like endurance and strength would be the next highest there. Other information, so depth reached is how deep into a dungeon you've gone. Orans are the main currency of the game. So that's your gold coins, essentially. You can apparently deposit them. You can see we've gone 21 turns. Alright, so skills, we can now see kind of what we started out here with. So mining, lumberjacking, obviously cutting down trees. Mining is mining. We have carpentry and crafting. Those are your starting craft skills, even though we don't have the ability to do anything with them just yet. We have heavy armor. That's interesting because No, no. So, okay, interesting. Yeah, light armor has potential of 100. Heavy armor has potential 100. So I think the reason they want us to lean towards light armor is light armor, or heavy armor I should say, will negatively affect spell casting. So if we want to still be able to cast spells well, we probably want to stick with light armor on that. We have good tactics, which is nice, to increase the melee damage there. And then I think, yeah, casting increases your cast chance. Strategy increases your effectiveness of your strategy, so I'm not really sure. I think once you get a larger party, that makes a bigger difference there. Then we have evasion, which is nice. So we can improve our evasion there. So you have 2 defensive stats. You have dodge value and protection value. So dodge value is affected by your evasion. This is so crazy. If you saw what the normal... It's like these are all filled up with different slots normally, so for us to only have these, that's quite insane. It'll be interesting because I think like we could probably grow like 2 waists and be able to equip like 2 belts. It'll be really interesting if we never end up with more than 1 hand, but we end up with like multiple like torsos or feet or different body parts for armor, and we could just deck out a bunch of armor. Very curious to see what's going to happen there. Anyways, back to the skills here. So then we have different weapon masteries, and these are kind of the different weapon masteries you can get in the game. So longsword, martial arts is our hand-to-hand, and staffs are actually really good. We have a 150 potential on both of those, 140 on martial arts. Okay, stats are really easy to make and find, so we might end up going that route. Longswords are kind of easy to make too, but we'll see. The weapon crafting is interesting because you don't typically get to choose what kind of weapon. You just say, oh, I want to build a wooden weapon, for example, and it'll randomly decide between like a longsword, staff, a mace, like a club or whatever, or a short sword. So that's interesting. All right. Crossbow is also good for us as well. Ooh, and pole arms. Okay, that could be good. All right. Traits. We have, of course, the innate feat, your body is changing every moment. And we have knowledge of talismans. So we'll see how that goes. Resistance, so currently we have a straw shirt. I think this is either class-based or randomly selected at start. I've ended up with like iron shirt in some cases, a wooden shirt in other cases. Iron shirt gives you fire resistance. The straw shirt we're starting out with, we have a DV, so a defensive value of +1. Or dodge, sorry. Dodge value +1. And we have cold resistance of 1 as well. And then you can see this as well. Alright, so that is that. If we long hold the back button on the mouse, we get our journal. We can see our different quests here. You can also come in here and selectively choose what to track over here. The main quest is not going to change for a long time, so I'm actually going to turn that off just to clear up some screen space as well. Key items, which by default we have an old charm. Don't know what that does yet. Well-worn backpack, which is what we have here. So this is a key item, so we can't do anything different about it. It's just, that's our default inventory there. Locations, we currently have none at the moment. There's different factions in the game. So you see Mycelia. You can have different reputation with all different factions and different guilds. Fighters Guild, Thieves Guild, Mage Guilds, and Merchants Guild. So that's pretty cool. You can have faction notoriety with Wilderness, which I find interesting as well. There's different religions, so these are the different gods that I guess you can do things with. You do have a pray option here. You can pray to God now. Like by default here, if I click on this, it says you don't believe in God, so I'm not really sure. But you're supposed to be able to pray at the end of each day. I don't know if that's like, if there's a specific hour that you're supposed to do that. But I have seen something in the game reference automatically praying at the end of each day for you, so you don't have to do it, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, so I don't know like how you end up choosing a god or whatever, and this is a bit of a non-faith build anyways, so we might not really come across it. Card Codex is interesting. So this, you can get different cards for like enemies or creatures and whatnot that you can learn different things from, like their weaknesses and that kind of stuff. And I think you can get bonuses for killing enough of them that you maybe you deal more damage to them or something like that. There's different gallery options as well. You can open these up. And then I think you can actually go through and, yeah, it tells you about the different artists and how they number them, name them, all that kind of stuff. And then this is just your records here. 19 minutes, we've done nothing. In fact, let's change that. We are going to real quick cover one more section of the UI, and that's down here. We've got our different attributes you can see, and then this is our speed at 100, and then this is the number of allies that you can have in your party. Currently I can only have up to 1, whereas over here we have the number of orans that we have. This is gold bars, platinum coins, this is your karma, and then this is our weight. And then we can also toggle widgets and things get a little different looking, just kind of a cleaner layout per se. Personally, I actually like having this on though, and having things laid out like this to an extent. You can go ahead, I hit escape to do that. You can go into widgets and you can actually say where you want things to go. So I'm going to have our pop notifications come up here. If we're hungry or anything, that would show up down here. Or maybe that's the status info. It's one of the two. There's also, if we do, so you can track skills, which is cool. I'll show that here in just a second. Recipe search, property search, side screen, note, quest tracker. So if I turn this on, I don't have any track quests, so I may have made a mistake by turning that off real quick, just so I can move that to where I would prefer it to be. That is going to be up here. I'll put that here. And then because of that, I will do the skill tracker down here. And then I think that's fine. If I need to move anything else around, I can. Alright, so let's go ahead and turn that back off. For tracking skills and whatnot, so I can come in here and I can say, I want to track my lumberjacking skill. So if I just click on it, you can see now it's tracked over there, and we can see once we start using it that will go up. We'll keep that on for now. You can track all sorts of stuff though. Alright, so we're gonna move over to this vegetable soup. We can grab it with our right click. We can place it around if we want. We can try to throw it if we want. It is in our inventory. If we just left click on us, we put it away so we're not grabbing it in our hands anymore. We can right click to eat it. We're not currently hungry, so I'm not worried about that right now. We did start with some things in our inventory. I'm gonna put this down here. I keep food down here. We have our adventure log, which of course we right click, we can see exactly what she had said before. Typically I get rid of that out of my inventory pretty early because you also have it in the help, and I don't know if it eventually comes up as more useful or not, but it is what it is. And then we have some bandages, which will help for healing us, of course, if we get into combat. Alright, so these are different. So here we have a cursed calligraphy tool. No idea what this is. It is cursed, so it has this little red icon. I think if it's enchanted with a positive thing, it's green or blue, one of the two. No idea what this does. We can middle click it. We can grab it. We can use it. Let's go ahead and use it and see what happens. Known productions. Melee category, spellbook category equals this. I see. So we can put a melee weapon in here and a spellbook weapon, and this will create a talisman, I would assume, given that's what our character is built on. Now, the cursed aspect of it, I'm not sure what that's going to do either. That could be very interesting. So we'll go ahead and we'll move this down here as well. I'll actually have that there, like that. All right, so then we also start with 3 different spellbooks. So by default, these have these question marks. They are unidentified, so we don't actually know what they are. However, being new, we could go to town. We could actually pay, I think it's like 45 orans per identify from a wizard that they have there. You can also come across objects. There was the last character I played, actually, he went into a dungeon, he found a rod, and a bunch of other magic items, and he went, or a bunch of items that were unidentified. And the very first thing I identified was the rod, and it turned out to be Rod of Identify, which let me identify 10 things for free. So that was really useful. So you can get that sort of stuff. I think you can also learn spells to do it as well. All spells essentially have a certain number of charges, a certain number of uses. So it's kind of interesting how those work. I believe there's ways to recharge things as well, but I haven't come across that yet. But being starter books, we can just go ahead and read these. These are going to teach us different spells that we're going to be able to use. So reading this one, we have a spell book of Firebolt, and you can see because we read it, we now have Firebolt as an ability here. Here's the target with a beam of magical light. So the target is ground. There's also different levels, so obviously you can get better at these. This has an 84% chance of being successfully cast, a power of 58, and you can see in the bottom right corner of its description there. And if I hold X on certain things, by the way, you can get a bigger examine window for them. Not that it really matters, but in this case, this uses 7 mana is what that icon is. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll favorite this for now, and we'll go ahead and drag this into our number 1 slot. Seems pretty good to use. We have 3 additional charges of this, so once this is used up its 7 charges, we could read this again, and we could actually regain those charges. We'll go ahead and read this tome now. And I think literacy and learning and all that kind of stuff, they probably affect like how many charges you end up getting on these. So this was Ice Bolt, so very similar. This one comes with 10 charges. 2d6 Cold Beam, also on the ground. So basically it means you can just target any ground area and it will shoot a beam towards that target, as opposed to having to directly target a person or a creature. So we'll go ahead and again favorite that, and we'll set that on our bar, and we'll move that down here. And then the last one is probably gonna be Darkness. Lightning. Oh, cool. This has 6 charges. The book itself only has 1 additional charge, so it came with 2 charges. So that's interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and try to inventory manage as much as I can here. Infuses the Singer's Weapon with Elemental Prowess. The Singer's Weapon. That's interesting. This uses 10 mana as opposed to the 7 of the other 2. So this applies to a weapon for 10 turns. Only a 67% success chance of using it. Or of it successfully being used. Converts weapon damage to electrical damage. Because elemental, it's obviously lightning, so it's going to be electrical. Attacking or taking elemental damage consumes a turn. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. +5 lightning resistance as well. So I wonder if that can be used, as it's saying weapon on here, but then the resistance, I wonder if it also applies a defensive buff. Huh. So you can see also this has the little self icon on it, this little blue guy on the corner here. So that is meaning that we cast it on ourselves, essentially. Cool. Well, we don't have any weapon or anything like that. We're going to leave this one up in the abilities bar, because that's going to be obviously something we use, and then it's good for 10 turns, apparently. So that's kind of cool. Alright, so... Cool. Got some starting abilities there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and talk to Ash here. Are you feeling a little better? Yeah, they miss a lot of like those and A's and things like that, but first thing first, you've earned this. A man tosses you a piece of parchment. Don't worry about it. It's just my quota. Although a deed for land sounds like a good thing to have, I doubt if anyone gives a damn these days. Throw it to the bonfire if you like, for all I care. That is very much how this game goes. Do what you want. So interest, I think this is the interest that this person has in you. The more you talk to them, like if you bother them and stuff, this interest will go down. Their affinity obviously can go up or down depending on what you're doing, or if you're helping them, all that kind of stuff. Alright, so you can see here, okay, no, sorry, something's just been put on the ground. New home. So you seem to be intact. I'm Ashland, on our way to the royal capital of Palmia with my companion. You aren't from around here, are you? I suppose I could spare some time to teach you the way of living in this land before we part, if you wish, of course. So, what is the land deed? Oh, that paper? It is a land deed. Mycilia is looking for pioneers, and we're giving away land for free to promising adventurers. How nice. Wouldn't that be nice to happen in real life? Well, of course, houses and people don't just pop up from nowhere. You will be carving your way through bushes, and there's no one to protect the land from rogues and vicious creatures. Eventually, you will have to pay taxes, too. Gross. Coffee. Alright. I'm going to lie. Nope, it's not what he said at all. I'm not going to lie. Fiamma and I, that's his companion, serve Mycilia, and Mycilia needs allies and coins. So my secret intention here is to emphasize the favor we have done to you, in a hope you might be driven to make a blooming town for two of us. I think it's for the two of us. He grins at you gleefully. Cannot speak. Alright, this place actually doesn't look bad for a new settlement. Why don't you go find a good spot and read the deed? So I actually tested with another character, because I was like, I wonder, do you have to settle this place? Can you just take this land deed, go somewhere else, settle there instead if you find a better place or whatnot? No, you do have to settle this one. It locks you in on this map tile until you do that, unfortunately. So, we can do teach me a way of living. It talks about, okay, what do you want to do? Picking and using items. We tell you to pick up and use items. This basically just goes through kind of how you do things. Blah, blah. Gathering and fatigue. So for the time being, natural resources will be essential to your life. Wild mushrooms and berries are a valuable source for food. You cut down trees, process stones for make furniture and buildings. Again, there's a big crafting focus on this one. You can try to collect resources on the map by right-clicking on them, but note that some items require tools such as an axe or pickaxe to harvest. Axe. Certain activities such as collecting consume your stamina. Natural healing stops as your fatigue builds up, and there's a risk of fainting if you keep moving. Now, my natural healing I think will remain regardless because we have that regeneration skill, but we'll see. There are only a few ways to recover from fatigue. Be careful when you are not strong enough. If you're too tired to walk, a night's sleep in bed will relieve the fatigue. If you cannot find a bed, try meditating. Alright, and then craft. So bonfires are crafting places, obviously. There's no other things we can do, which once we settle this town, we'll go into that. Who's the Elin girl I saw? You saw an Elin girl in the woods. It must have been Fiamma in her days. She's still here somewhere. She's the one who found you when you collapsed. Faya is human, but you weren't the first one to guess wrong. She hears the voice of Forest. I recall she was muttering something strange a while ago. That it was a girl in her dream which brought us here. I wonder what she meant. And then we can do what is Nephia. So there are many unexplored ruins scattered across Entyrus, and we call them Nephia. So those are dungeons, basically. It is rumored that ancient treasures lie dormant in the depths of Nephia, but it would be wise to avoid rushing exploration unless you consider yourself an adventurer with considerable skill and making sure that you are decked out in some armor and stuff as well, although it's going to be difficult for us having no limbs or anything. So we have this quest, New Home. You were saved by a pair of travelers called Ashland and Fiamma. When you lost consciousness in the woods, the man who serves Mycilia handed you a piece of contract paper, which, according to him, you can read on any unoccupied land to claim the land. So we'll go ahead and pick that up. Now we can go ahead and read this. Anywhere we read this is going to be where we're going to claim. I'm going to actually come over here and place it right here is fine. Because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to build off of the... Oh, there's bronze ore in here. Cool. That was not in my previous playthrough. Also have copper ore. Nice. Anyways, because it turns out like you can use these as walls. So when building your initial settlement, I found that, you know, like you can just build like a wall over in this area here and not have to worry about the backside. The backside will all be taken care of there. And then you can go ahead and start like mining into this to help clear out more room without, again, having to build more walls or more rooms, which is nice. You'll see that there's a darker section here. Now we can leave the map with enter is what it says here. This is the edge of the map is wherever it's lit up. By default, on most places, it's got the fog of war, so you have to actually explore them. The meadow that you start in is the exception to that. Alright, so now we have this Hearthstone here, which we can change the name of the home, all that kind of stuff. Let's do a different name here. Let's go ahead and call this... Limbless... Limblessville. Because we are quite limbless. Oh man. This is going to be an interesting playthrough for sure. So you can see now that we can go talk to Ashlyn, but we can also come over here. She has a little exclamation point over her head, and we can talk to Fiamma as well. And she is going to give us a companion. So you've made up your mind to live on this land. I wish you well in your new home. I'm giving you one of my precious companions for a gift. What kind of animal do you like? So if you lose your companion, you can come back to her, and you can have her basically respawn them for you. Otherwise, they'll come back naturally after like a week. But you will lose some of her affinity every time that you do that. I think you lose like 2 or 4 affinity, and she can eventually come to dislike you if you constantly get your companion in, well, deadly situations that they die from every time. So we can get a dog, a cat, a bear. So obviously a dog, so all of these start as younglings. So you get a puppy, you get a kitten, you get a bear cub, which I assume that they do grow up eventually. Or you can get a little girl. So they all have inventory that you can give them. You have to, I don't know if you have to feed them. I know that I've come across, after a while, I looked at them, they showed that they were starving, so I fed them food, and they were better off. So I believe they do succumb to different effects of not being able to eat as much. So giving them food in their inventory is useful. You can also gift them things, and they will use them that way as well. So I know the cat and the dog, I think, are similar as far as they're mostly just pets. They can help in combat a little bit as well. And I know for a fact I saw randomly, I think in one of the screenshots or something, that you can get like a mission from your cat or something. I don't know, it's really weird. The bear is probably the most capable as far as melee combat assistance goes. From what I've seen, although I have had great success with a little girl. Obviously there's a benefit to having a human that you can have better interactions with. You can also obviously deck them out in different equipment, and with my character being able to work on like talismans and stuff like that, I can give her like enchanted stuff, which would be cool. And then yeah, so I think I'm going to go ahead and use the little girl option here again, just because I've found it to be quite useful. She also comes with a weapon, and I think she's going to be better at essentially defending me than I would be defending her. The bear might be good at defending me, but yeah, we're going to go with the little girl. Alright, take good care of it. If you get separated from companions, you can call them back from a tavern in a nearby town. Alright, so we can say, thanks for saving me, no need to thank me, you were on my way. I thought you were a goner when I found you in the old forest. I'm glad you are okay. Story of the Ugly Beast. This is basically Beauty and the Beast tale here. I have some questions. What is the old forest on the eastern continent across from the Sea of Tyrus? There is a deep forest where people never set foot in. An old forest where Elias dwell. The poison the trees breathe out takes away man's rationality and eventually lead them to death. The forest is called Vindale, or the Other Forest. There still remain a few old forests on this continent as well. They don't take human lives like the forest of Vindale does, but they are dangerous places nonetheless. And that mist, or the poison, is I think called the Ether, that we saw you could have a resistance to if you chose to be an Elias. And then she has home equipment that we can buy once we get gold bars and stuff. This is kind of fun. You can get a plan of tax evasion. It costs 10 gold bars, which is a lot to start out with for sure, but it does offer a reduction in the taxes levied, which I think could be quite useful if you want to go the route of not necessarily focusing on earning a lot of money or putting your money towards other things. You can also get a kitten bank or a piggy bank, which will go in one of these slots here to give you additional storage. These cost 1 bar each. Once we really get going, we're going to go and grab a resident board and a home board, or at least a home board. They kind of help you manage things. But then she has some crafting recipes as well. Watchfire, I have no idea what that does. It says it's categorized as a book. It says it can be crafted at a workbench. I think it's kind of like the bonfire, but maybe it gives you more lighting. I don't know. We might grab that just to see what it does, just because I haven't yet. Small grass window, sculpting table. A millstone will allow you to turn, like, essentially create trail mix that lasts indefinitely, because food will spoil otherwise. So that could be kind of nice to have that. We also have an old lantern, which you can't craft for a little while because you need certain items that you don't get right away. Carpenter's table can craft a practice chest, which turns out needs a microchip, I found out in my last playthrough. So that's kind of locked off for a while as well. It's not something I'd recommend. She has 5 food recipes up to level 5. So these will give you a random food recipe that you can unlock by buying these. And then there's grass blocks, so you can create, like, these are soil blocks. It's a wood block, but you can craft different blocks with those. Grass fence and grass fence. I don't know why there's 2 of them there, but it is what it is. All right, so let's go ahead and close that. Let's go talk to Ash now. Oh yeah, so we have our little girl. Her name is Van Faust. We'll call her Van for short. So I can middle click on her and get different options. I can kick her to kick her away. I could attack her for whatever reason. I can go into trade, and this gives me her inventory, so we can see that she comes with a wooden long staff. Does 2d3 damage. Her attack evaluation, so 2d3 damage times 2.11. I think that's how frequently she can hit. So I think she can hit twice per attack with that, which is pretty cool. Each hit has an 89% chance to hit, no penetration percentage chance. She has a silver feather hat, which offers dodge and protection of 1 each, and grants darkness resistance 2. She has a sand robe, which has a dodge -3 and protection -1. That's terrible. Why would you want that? These are randomly generated as well, because I've had her and it's in much better gear than this previously. A pair of stone light gloves. So protection value 2 offers hit +1. I think that's for the martial arts specifically. Yeah, 2d6 +1. You can see there are martial arts on her attack valuation. So that +1 is coming from that hit +1 there. This is, so her dodge is an 8, and her protection value is a 12, and it would have been much better if she didn't have this on, but you can't, unfortunately, like, unequip things from her. Oh, you can. What? I never tried double-clicking on them before. Wow. Huh? Stop. Take it, take it. Okay, I have karma -1. I just lost karma for stealing that from her. That's dumb. I am gonna let her have that though, because it's what she comes with, and I want her to. I shouldn't. Now if I take it again, it's gonna hurt me again, karma-wise, I'm sure. Here's her resistances, her traits. So she has favor of the machine. Interesting. Okay, so she'd be good with guns, so that's something we'll probably want to get her on. She has +5 lockpicking. I don't know if I can issue her commands to like, hey, can you pick that lock for me? I will have to look into trying that. Steel defense. She has plus 10 protection value right off the bat, which is how she's at a 12 there, which is nice. Weapon mastery 2, so that's just giving her increased effectiveness on this, which is, I don't know where that's going to show per se, but... And then her growth, so she can gain feats. There's gene stuff as well that you can do, like DNA. Interesting things with DNA. She's 10 years old. She likes booze and Caesar salad. Don't we all? Her chores are her hobby, interesting, and she is a good lumberjack. Her favorite weapon style is axe, it says. Armor style, heavy armor, but with this... I don't know. She got +6 gun for this. So that's all we can really see on her like that, but then we can also talk to her. I don't necessarily want to do a lot of talking just yet, but we can tell her to shut up for whatever reason. Don't use shared equipment. Once you become my maid, we can tell her to wait at home, which has her just wait here. We could say, let's talk. Yeah, we just lost 3 by doing it. Lumiest is the famous city of art. Okay. Sure. Alright. So, all negative interactions from her so far. Sucks. Alright, we're going to go ahead and talk to him. Congratulations, lands. Now, yours celebrate in the beginning. I will give you a hatchet. That will be a great use to you to work your way through the land. So hatchet's good for cutting down trees and getting like stone and different plants and things like that, and bone. So it's kind of your overall basic tool to start with here. He's also going to give me 10 gold bars. The relief supplies provided by Mycelia. Gold bars are useful resources you can use to hire residents. You can also be exchanged for various items that are essential to the development of your home. Beyond carries the beginner furnishing and custody. Okay. We're going to stay here for a while longer, see how it develops. Hey, I feel a little responsible for having kindled your pioneering spirit. Posted some requests on the bulletin board. Take a look when you have time. Alright, so what is my goal? Yeah, this is, what do you want to build on this land? Place for travelers to rest their wings, which could be interesting. I think building an inn and having it be like a tourist spot could be actually kind of cool. A craftsman's workshop where master artists exercise their abilities, or a peaceful farm village with swaying ears of wheat. If you have a vision for the future, that is your goal. As long as you could pay us a certain amount of income, taxes, we won't have any say in the matter. Well, if you don't know where to start, take a look at the bulletin board. I'll post some requests to get you set up. So, we can go in and talk to him about additional things as well. We're going to go and pick all these up. Yep, she's going to say, hey. Oh, that's because I lost karma here. Yeah. So I felt your karma drop. In this world, your karma decreases if you do bad things. If it falls below 0, you become a criminal. Becoming a criminal makes life very difficult. Complete quests, return lost items, and always strive to do good deeds to increase your karma. By the way, the most serious crime in the world is tax evasion. If you don't pay your taxes for 4 months, you'll be immediately wanted and your life will be in danger. So be careful, okay? Alright. So we're going to go ahead and move these gold bars into our... We'll just keep this for like currency here. And then, yeah, this is telling me I can switch... I have 2 different hot bars. So I like this to be kind of my combat hotbar, and we'll have this one be like our non-combat hotbar. So we can go ahead and equip our axe now. You can see, like, if I hover over the cedar tree, it tells me nothing, but if I have the axe equipped, I can actually collect it, and it has the easy option for that. If I were to step over here... Okay, yes, I know how to use the axe, blah, blah, blah. You can see this is impossible with the axe that I have, or an axe in general, I think, to mine a copper big rock. So yeah, but we can get some bone here. So, hold please. All right, quick interruption there. Okay, so getting close to about an hour and a half here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up pretty shortly here. We're just going to get through the start super early start stuff. And then we'll go ahead and kind of go from there. We'll go into the next episode and really when the game's going to take off for us. So this is our little quest board here. You can see we have different quests being given to us. These are the starter quests that are always going to be there. You do get randomized quests from people as well. And you can find quest boards in towns too. You can also see you can go to recruit. You can use gold bars. I have not done this yet, but you can use gold bars to actually recruit people to your town as well. I'm dying, I'm sorry. We can get a gunner, which I wonder if... or I don't wonder. I know that like you could then try and get them to be part of your party as well. So like it could be good to have, you know, like a gunner or a thief or something like that. Again, I don't know if you can tell them to like help you pick locks or anything like that, but so this guy is personal pleasure work, so that's okay. This is a writer, and then we have a treasure hunter. So this would be like somebody that we'd probably want to take with us, but and then we have adventure rankings, which yeah, we are nowhere near anybody else. Limblessville. So these are the other adventurers that you can come across in the world, though, which is kind of cool too. Ugly lock. Okay. Anyways, so let's start with the essential equipment. You need to learn this to run your base. As you build your base here, you must know about shared container. The shared container is a vital piece of equipment for residents to live and work in. Listen carefully, and I'm only going to explain this once. Containers, such as crates and barrels, have the conception of permissions. A lot of things in the game do, actually. Normally, only you can move items in and out of a container, but you can change it to a shared container by clicking the lock icon on the right of the container. So shared containers are accessible to residents and party members. Those who are hungry will scavenge for food in the containers, and if they find good equipment, they may take it out. If there are materials needed for work, they may be consumed automatically. Also keep an eye on the remaining capacity of the shared container, as residents may deliver work products or stuff they have found, so you can actually get things delivered to it as well. I'll go ahead and give you this box, which is a reward for this quest. Set it on the ground and try to turn it into a shared container. Alright, so we'll go ahead and pick up this sturdy box. I'm going to go ahead and, to start with, we'll go ahead and just set it over here. So I'm going to middle click it to grab it, and then we can go ahead and set it here with our right click. So we can open this up, and now I can go ahead and drop some things off that I don't care to have on me at all times. Actually, it's just that for now. So yeah, so we have this change permission here. We can set that to shared. I am going to turn that back to private here in just a moment, though, because I don't really always want it that way. There's a lot of configurations you can do for these sorts of things too. So as you can change how it sorts, and then when you hit the sort option, it will sort based on how you've decided to set it up. You can choose what you want to put in here. So again, because NPCs can put things in here, you can choose to have them do, you know, only specific categories of items and stuff, and change the priorities for that. And then auto dump, so you can choose, you know, how you want the auto dump feature, which is over here. When you have a container open, you can auto dump things in there. And then you can change the name of it, or don't use items in the container for crafting. When you're at a crafting table or whatever, you can craft using items from containers in the area as well, which is nice. And then you can change the appearance for the actual box itself or container itself. So that is that. We're going to go ahead and close this now. We're going to go back to Ash and talk to him, because he's not going to say, hey, it looks like he's successfully set up a shared container. Change the setting of the containers. You can also create containers that are used on priority-based containers and only use items certain category and be moved in and out. You can try this out later when you need to organize base supplies, which I did recently. So I'm going to go back here now, and we are going to set this not to shared, because, well, I guess we'll leave it for now until we start putting things in there that we don't want them to remove. I'm also going to come over here. I'm going to grab this bonfire, and we're going to set this over here, because again, I want everything to start to be over here a little bit, and they'll actually make their way over towards the bonfire as well. I can even grab the quest board as well, and we'll actually bring this over here. Yeah, see, she's walked over there now. All right, so that is, again, kind of the base setup of how the game works. I am going to get this uploaded and we will continue on this journey. I know that this is a really long format video, being like an hour and a half long, but I really wanted to kind of share this game. I think it's really fun and addicting, and I was already going to be playing it, and while I can't stream right now, I figured recording videos and uploading those to the channel is at least something. So until next time, if you want to watch this, make sure that you like and subscribe. You know, please the YouTube algorithm and all that. Subscribing, of course, will allow you to see when the next video of this goes up as well. And I will see you in the next one.